This is KGW News at 11.
Welcome to KGW News at 11 and good evening to you. I'm Evan Watson. It was a big night for the University of Portland women's basketball team. They played their first game in the NCAA tournament since 1997. Of course, a moment for the fans to celebrate and a chance to spring an upset. Art Edwards joins us. He was at the Pilot House in the middle of the watch party. Hey, Art.
Hey there. You know, the Pilot House was the place to be if you wanted to watch the Pilots play tonight. The fans, well, they were fired up for the opening tip, and they stayed that way until the final buzzer. These fans have been looking forward to this day, the day the Pilots return to play in the NCAA tournament, going in as the underdogs against Oklahoma.
This is big. This is big for a small school like this.
They missed their 2020 chance to play at the March Madness, so this is their chance to win a game.
Fans filled the Pilot House on the University of Portland campus. The Pilot House even went all in, adjusting the menu and going with mozzarella sticks and chicken fingers to give the place a sports bar kind of feel. Fans of all ages in the house to watch the action, and they were all in. Team members are the classmates and friends of some of these folks.
The team is like really fun to watch. They're really good. I love watching like Alex play. I'm really glad that I got into basketball because I never used to watch it until college. And so it's fun because my best friend Maddie is on the team, so it's fun getting to watch her and her teammates play. Even the president of the university came out to support the team. Before tip-off, he was optimistic.
Anything can happen. We've seen that. The last couple of days. We've seen anything can happen. But our students have been preparing for this. They were denied this back in 2020, and this is their moment.
The fans cheered every time Portland scored a basket. For a while, it looked like the Pilots had a chance for an upset. But in the second half, they fell way behind. Still, there was optimism.
I've seen them pull back in a game where they're down from much more. So I'm hoping that they can pull through. I think they could do it.
Now, in the end, the Pilots came up short in this ball game, but the fans, they are still very proud of what the team was able to accomplish this year. Orlando will be along in sports in a little while to give a full recap of that game.
Thank you, Art. Looks like
It's glorious out. We couldn't resist coming out to walk on the waterfront.
It's like a dream.
And enjoying the weather. In fact, I think I'm overdressed now.
How long is this going to last? When will we have a day like this again?
Yeah.
You never know, so we have to enjoy it while we can.
everyone delighted out there. Today marks the warmest day of the year so far. So many people took the chance to get outside and enjoy this weather at the Vancouver waterfront. They welcomed that sun after what feels like a longer than normal winter. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri is joining me now. Joe, any chance we're going to have more sunny days like this? Some hope on the horizon?
We will, but not anytime soon. Okay. We're going to be seeing some changes by midday tomorrow. But yeah, it was absolutely lovely earlier this afternoon. This is probably the nicest stretch of weather we've seen the entire year. Lots of sunshine, warm temperatures. We got close to 70 degrees earlier this afternoon. As we look at the map here, we saw highs right around 67, 68 degrees, no 70s. But again, the last time we saw temperatures this warm, you have to go back to October 4th, 5 months ago. Believe it or not, man, that seems like it was ages ago seeing that warm weather stick around, but it's not sticking around because we are going to be seeing some much cooler conditions heading into tomorrow. Daytime highs tomorrow afternoon will be about 10 degrees cooler, and you'll definitely see it, especially as we see some rain showers move in again right around lunchtime throughout the northern part of the metro area. Right now over in Newport, you're seeing a temperature of 43 degrees, and a live look now from the Wells Fargo camera, a temperature of 55 degrees with mostly cloudy skies, and we started to see those high clouds roll through. Now those clouds are going to thicken up heading into your early morning hours tomorrow. But again, we saw the warmest day of the year this afternoon, 68 degrees. Last time we saw highs this warm was in the last fall. And again, rain and cooler conditions will be arriving heading into tomorrow. And Evan, get this, I'm also tracking low snow levels. I'll let you know when that happens coming up.
You got it, Joe. Look forward to it. Law enforcement is continuing to investigate two shootings from a chaotic night in downtown Portland. The first happened just before 2 a.m. early this morning. Patrol officers heard gunshots, then responded to West Burnside near 4th Avenue, not far from Dante's nightclub. One man there had been shot and had critical injuries. He was taken to the hospital. While that investigation was going on, officers heard more gunshots a few blocks away. It looks like the second shooting happened behind Dante's, but so far there's no sign of any victims from that gunfire. No arrests have been made related to these shootings. Portland police are investigating a suspected overdose death that happened Thursday night. Several reports came in over the span of an hour from the same apartment building in Northeast Portland. Around 10:40 p.m., police were called for an overdose at the Hollywood East Apartments on Broadway and 44th Avenue. That person was okay and did not need to go to the hospital. Then, an hour later, medics went back to the building for 3 other possible overdoses. Portland Fire saying one person died at the scene and one woman was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. Now, the medical examiner will investigate, and that investigation could take months. Oregon lawmakers are considering a bill that would increase penalties for people in possession of fentanyl and for those dealing the dangerous drug. District attorneys across the state say it would close a loophole and make mandatory treatment a top option for those addicted. Tim Gordon has more on House Bill 2645.
There is plenty of debate about Oregon's voter-approved Measure 110, which decriminalized low-level drug possession, even for hard drugs. But in the midst of a fentanyl epidemic, lawmakers are considering closing a gap that allows for possession of up to 5 grams of fentanyl before it's even a misdemeanor.
I think it's an absolute crisis. It is everywhere within your community.
Dan Primus is the top prosecutor in rural Umatilla County and president of the Oregon District Attorneys Association, which supports House Bill 2645, aimed at breaking the grip of fentanyl. In Umatilla County, with a population of 80,000, Primus says law enforcement seized a record 72,000 pills containing fentanyl last year and are on track to break that record in 2023, having already seized 54,000 pills.
It's something that we're seeing a steady increase of, and obviously we're seeing the consequence of it with the loss of life throughout the state.
We want to save lives, period. And this is a step towards how do we help do that.
At a committee hearing this week in Salem, lawmakers talked about the bill, which would make possession of from 1 to 5 grams of fentanyl a misdemeanor and anything more a felony. It also makes mandatory treatment a provision for offenders charged with possession.
And that's really kind of the hope as well, is to see what we can do about assisting individuals with treatment and going through the treatment process, because we know that is a gap. There's a gap there as well.
House Bill 2645 also sets penalty levels for pills containing fentanyl, because that is the form it comes in most of the time. For those dealing the deadly drug, that means there could be tougher penalties, treating fentanyl dealers the same as heroin dealers in court.
You want to prevent those that are supplying and quite frankly killing those within your community with this addiction issue. And this bill allows for that as well.
Tim Gordon, KGW News.
This bill does currently have bipartisan support, and the next step comes on Thursday when the Senate Committee on Judiciary has a work session on HB 2645. Now to Portland's homeless crisis and housing issue. Residents of Northeast Portland's Montevilla neighborhood gathered this afternoon for a town hall meeting about proposed sanctioned camping sites. The focus of the meeting was the city's plans to install 6 sanctioned tent sites. At least one of those sites that was mentioned is near 90th and Gleason. That site's owners say the location is no longer being considered by the city. Meanwhile, 2 other sites along 82nd Avenue, which are owned by Multnomah County, are turning into safe park sites. The county says these sites will give people who live in their cars a place to park, slightly different than the city's plans for housing areas. County leaders say people at safe park sites will have access to services to help them find housing.